everybody. Welcome back to the Of Stone and Clay podcast. This is episode 173. We have a guest returning.
Lucky me.
She was on episode 67, so we've done like over 100 episodes since then. We were just talking about this before. You were literally my last guest that was just recorded at my house on my iPhone.
That is insane, but also congratulations. Like,
Thank
it's
you.
so cool to see the growth. And what did you say, 173?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, we're just ripping them.
Yeah, you are.
But yeah, it's this is exciting because you're one of my favorite people that I don't really know very well, right?
That's
like,
the perfect way to put it. I feel the same way. I'm like, wait, I love Taylor so much. I'm like, but do I know him super well?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yes, no.
Yeah, like I had to ask you where you live. Like I
Yeah.
don't know you like that, but you're someone that I probably see like 10 times a year.
Yeah.
For 12 minutes at a time.
Exactly 12 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I've been to so many of your shows.
Yeah.
Ashley is a musician and she's in a band. And so I've been to so many of your shows where we say hi after the show.
Yeah.
But that's kind of been our relationship.
I also feel like you've been at a lot of the settings of this band. There's times with this band that it just goes really deep and it's like really, we just dive in. And I feel like you've been in those settings. So I think maybe that is part of the reason why I'm like, I feel this like deep connection, even though I'm like, wait, I actually don't know Taylor super well, but
Right.
we've I think just had cool moments or been at shows or experiences where.
Yeah. And I've just been a weird groupie that is just.
Not even. We all love you. Are you kidding?
I know, but I have no real reason to be at any of these things.
Except the fact that you're so cool and we all love you. That's all you need.
Right. But it's like a room of like 25 musicians and producers and videographers. And I'm just like.
You just like secretly come out one day and like have this crazy voice and you like are this undercover musician.
Yeah. I got a bunch of secret albums in the works.
Can't wait to hear them.
Well, sweet. I have so much I want to talk about.
Same.
Last time we talked, you were your hit song Yet was still gaining traction and was still a huge thing and still had some virality to it. You had just gotten off tour with Maverick City.
Wow.
It's been, I think it's probably been 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Give me a quick overview of what the last couple of years has been like. I know you've been like,
oh my gosh,
making music and you've been writing stuff in Nashville, and I know you signed with a label, and I know you've got an album coming out January 1st of next year, which I don't know why we have to wait so long, but apparently we do.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Help me understand. You literally have the full track listing out. Why do we have to wait 6 months?
Well,
Is it mastering? Are all the songs done?
The songs are done.
Okay. And we have to wait.
The songs are done. They've been done for a while. Here's the thing. I'm not quite sure how much I can say.
Okay.
But
also we can cut out. If you're
no, this is great. This actually is great. This is actually pretty wild, the timing of this episode and just our last episode, like everything we talked about and everything that's happened over the last 2.5 years. So the album's been done it's been done for about a year, which is pretty wild. It was supposed to come out at the end of last year, but did not for various reasons. But long story short, just you hear stories about artists that go through label issues and it's always heartbreaking for me to hear that because it's like, oh, like as an artist, you just like understand it. I can relate to people that like are so protective and like want to just express themselves in that way. And for that to be like, I don't know, sometimes taken advantage of, but sometimes not appreciated or rejected. Just like personally, I understand the pain of that, but I never thought that something like that would happen to me.
Yeah.
But I think, the hard thing, I'm just going through a situation where I'm in the process of getting out of that deal and trying to figure out what it looks like putting that music out. And hopefully I'll still be able to put it out. I don't know if it will be with that label or if it will be independently, but so I kind of have especially the last year have been on this. I kind of spiraled for a bit because it was like, I just poured so much into this album and just did this deep dive of like, the whole concept was becoming like a little kid again and just getting in touch with little Ashley, because I felt like she was just this like so confident, unabashed, like curious, playful, vibrant kid that I think is actually me at my core. And I've just had these layers of sediment that have just kind of been built up. And so just kind of trying to get through that back to my core, not like become something I'm not. It's just like get back to the root of who I am. Right. So to pour so much time into that and then create this music that I feel like represented that, and also like my relationship with God and just how all of that is just intertwined, to then now being like trying to fight for it to be released. And then just, there's just a lot of layers of, honestly, of like grief that I'm going through of like the process of creating that, and then not knowing if it's able to come out, and then wrapping that up with my identity, and then wrapping that up in my creativity. And so just, it's been like an interesting season navigating like, and trying to separate those things almost a bit of like, okay, my creativity and my art and my music is not my identity. Right. It's a way to express parts of my identity, but it's not my identity. So
let me ask you this. What are other parts of your life that you associate a lot with your self-worth outside of music, outside of performing?
Oh man, my faith and my relationship with God, very tied up in my self-worth, my relationships with other people. And the way that I perceive other people perceive me is huge. Like that's something I've struggled with for a long time. And I think that's part of this deep desire to like get back in touch with little Ashley, because just, I feel like kids are so present and they're not thinking about what other people are thinking about.
Yeah, they don't even have the capacity to really be like, how am I being perceived?
It's like, I'm going to go to the store in a Batman costume and like, I'm going to not care. And I'm like, why can't I go to the store in a Batman costume? Like, and so I think, and I've noticed that quite a bit, especially lately, and especially with just everything that I've been experiencing in the music industry, and even just in an industry, especially the Christian industry, where my beliefs aren't always understood or even accepted in some ways. A lot of that gets wrapped up in my identity, and I feel rejected in like a deeper way, because that's something that also is just so deeply a part of who I am that it's hard to separate those things. A lot. But that's actually something I wanted to talk to you about, because I feel like you just seem so like grounded and confident in who you are. Like you have this like deep abiding love for other people, but also for yourself. And I'm like, how have you cultivated that? Like, what is that? I'm like, drop a link, like make a list. How do we all become more like Taylor Church?
Oh gosh. How do you answer that succinctly? Let me attempt to answer it.
Okay.
I do think some of these things are just your innate personality, right? Like I think people often talk about you and your sort of, people see joy in you and they see light in you and they see goodness in you. And I think if you were asked, well, how do you do that? How do you emanate that? You're like, I'm me. And I try to keep being me. And part of it's maybe connected to how you were raised. It's connected to your experiences in life. But I don't know. I think I've experienced, I really liked what you said earlier, how it feels like there's been layers of sediment put on top of your soul or your heart at times. And I think that's happened to me enough that, I don't know, it's just left me so humbled, but also just so grateful for everything that, I don't know, it makes me walk around not taking myself very seriously. But when I say I don't take myself very seriously, I also have like deep, deep love and compassion for myself. But I don't know. I'm just not really, I don't know. I think my ego has kind of passed away.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we all struggle with it.
Yeah, of course.
Right. But I don't know. I don't feel I think I used to have so many things attached to my self-worth, right? Whether it was playing sports well, or doing well with girls, or whatever, being attractive, being handsome, being whatever, being successful with my career, all these things. And I think a certain amount of emotional beating that I've taken in life, just because I'm a human, not because I've suffered any more than anyone else, but that has allowed me to be like, I can just be content and grateful with just about anything that happens.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm always so curious about this because I know the way that my brain works, and I'm so curious about how other people, especially emotionally, when you say like you've experienced or taken enough of an emotional beating, do you feel like that's more like self-inflicted, or do you feel like it's based off of like situations that have happened that have caught like, I'm so curious about.
Well, I'm sure I've inflicted plenty, but I think it's a combo, right? I think I've always been a sensitive little boy. I was very, like growing up, very scared of things, right? Very worried that someone's going to invade our house. And I wasn't even like an anxious kid. I could relax, I could have fun, but I was scared of things. I was scared of dogs. I was scared of thunder. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then as you get a little bit older, feelings start to emerge, right? And once you stop caring only about playing and eating candy, feelings start to emerge, friendships and relationships start to form. And I remember, having a little like girlfriend in like 4th grade or something, and I show up to class the first day of school, and we had been like boyfriend and girlfriend over the summer, and all we did was like talk on the phone.
Wait, that's so
like,
cute.
Definitely never touched her.
Yeah. No.
In any capacity. And like first day of school, somebody comes up to me and is like her friend, and she let me know that she was no longer dating me, and I remember just like bursting into tears in class.
Wait, how old were you?
What
grade?
I'm in 4th grade.
Crazy.
I'm 11 or something. But I was just from an early point in life, I was easily moved to tears. And as I got older, I got more comfortable with it and realized it wasn't a weakness. And thankfully, like my dad is easily moved to tears. So it was never like a macho thing where I couldn't cry or didn't feel comfy crying. But I was just always a sensitive kid. And then, I think I would say as you get older and you expect certain things in life, whether it's to be married, to have kids, to be in love, or just for life to be like what you always thought it would be. There's a lot of heartbreak involved with that.
Totally.
Right. And also as you get older, if you're sensitive to it, you realize how much heartbreak other people around you are experiencing. And that's heartbreaking. Growing up, my dad, for a lot of periods of my childhood had really, really severe depression. And as a kid, you just don't really understand, right? As an adult, I started to understand, and it broke my heart, And so I'm actually really grateful for the way my heart like takes in information, right? Because it makes me just more sensitive to people, and it makes me want to love people more easily, right? And so I say that there's been all this sediment that's like been added to my soul, and there's been some heaviness associated with that, but to me it's a good thing. And I'm not really sure how people get away with not having that. But if they do, congratulations.
If they do, I'm like, actually, no. I'm like, are you okay? Like, you're not living.
Yeah,
like, you don't have any connection.
I'm not sure I believe it, but
but like, also, if somehow you do, maybe you have cracked the code. But
and then there's plenty. I'm sure there's plenty that I've self-inflicted, you know. I think a lot of things in life I've learned the hard way and have done again and again and again, and it's taken me a while to learn things, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not. I used to be really concerned with being happy and making sure that I had a happy life. And I'm just not concerned with that anymore. I'm more focused on purpose and being grateful for joy when it comes.
Yeah.
You know?
What a healthy outlook. And also, just I feel like that is a lot more intentional and realistic, because even in purpose, it's like you're going to have moments that are so joyful, but still moments that are so hard. But like you still have something you're in pursuit of, and it's not like that. Just, I love that perspective. Yeah. Also, what you're describing about your sensitivity, I'm like, oh, so you're empathetic. Yeah. You have like a really strong superpower of connecting with people and being able to, because I'm somebody that like, if I'm in the room with you and we're talking and you start crying, I just will start crying. Like I'm like, like I used to be so embarrassed about that. Or even just when I started talking about things that were important to me or emotional, like tears just come so easily for me. But even just with other people, just being so sensitive to other people's emotions, I think for a long time I thought that was like kind of what you're saying, like a weakness. But I was talking to my therapist about it at one point, and she's like, oh, that just means you're paying attention. And I was like, I don't know why just that simple of a statement. Just, I was like, because something for me that I really love and is like a love language for me is when people are so present with me. And I feel like they're just like engaging and like locked in. Cause I feel like we're so distracted, like on our phones, or just like, I know my brain is in a million different places at all times. But when I feel like I'm with somebody and they're present with me and they're like paying attention and they care, I notice that. Yeah. And so for her to just be like, oh, it just means you're paying attention. I was like, oh my gosh. And it just like shifted something in my brain that was so simple that I was like, oh, I actually love that. Like, I want to be paying attention. I want to pay attention to the people in my life I care about. I want to be paying attention to just my surroundings and maybe people I don't know, and like how I can connect and just have experiences that give my life more purpose. And I'm not just like on my phone 24/7 or just like missing so much of the beauty that's right in front of me, you know? Yeah. To me, when you're crying or you're deeply affected by something, you're heartbroken, to me, all that is data. It's just your body saying, oh, guess what? Here's a reminder you have a huge heart. Here's a reminder you're feeling this deeply for a reason. Yeah. Like you said, you're paying attention. Totally. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And, you know, it's funny, being a podcaster, I watch so many podcasts as I'm sort of studying them, right? I'm sure as a musician, sometimes you listen to music as a consumer and sometimes as a musician, right? Absolutely. So sometimes I'm watching podcasts as a podcaster, and something I notice sometimes that I really love is I love when people get choked up and they start crying and they don't apologize for it. Because so many people in interviews, they'll get choked up and they'll be like, I'm sorry. Or they'll even say to themselves, like, I don't want to get emotional, or I'm sorry, I didn't think I was going to get emotional. But I love when people just don't even mention it. Yeah. And they're just like, why? I don't need to mention that I'm crying. Everyone can see I'm crying. You know? Also, yeah, like I do that all the time. Why though? It's like, because I also don't want to be a robot. Like, why are we? Yeah, that's so interesting. And now I'm going to pay attention to that, because there are times that I'll get emotional. I'm like, sorry. But I'm like, what am I sorry for caring and having feelings? Yeah, and it's a weird reflex. But to me, I'm like, am I insecure that I'm being affected by this? I'm not. So I don't want to apologize for it. No, that's a cool and just a profound observation. Because I think, again, to me, it goes back to like how we think other people are perceiving us. But I'm like, when somebody gets emotional or choked up, or they're sharing something that's either hard or personal, the level of connection that I feel with that person and like the barriers that you're able to break through when you're able to have experiences like that with people, I'm like, that's like one of my favorite parts about life. Yeah. But it's like, when it's me doing that, I'm like, oh, wait, I don't know sometimes. But I feel like I kind of go through cycles of that where sometimes I'm like totally open in that, and then sometimes I like get closed off about it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to ask you an interesting question. I was thinking about this on the way over here. I was thinking about, I ask a lot of guests about heartbreak and what that means to them and how they experience it and how they work through it. But I think a lot of times we have in our lives, we have sort of these delineated moments of heartbreak, right? We have maybe a big breakup, or we have somebody we know passes away. We have big moments of grief and big moments of heartbreak. But a lot of times, because we've been carrying a lot of heartbreaks over the years, we kind of walk around with a little bit of a fractured heart. We kind of walk around with a really tender heart. And I wanted to ask you sort of what that means to you, experiencing kind of these little heartbreaks in between, whether it's, sometimes you're just in a talking stage with somebody and it doesn't work out, but it breaks your heart.
Yeah.
And it's not a huge breakup necessarily, but it breaks parts of you.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? How do you move through from heartbreak to heartbreak?
That's such a good question. I'm really grateful that you asked, because that's like the season of my life that I'm in right now. I feel like it's a lot of, there's just heartbreaks that I'm experiencing in like my identity and in relationships with other people, and in even with my career. There's just, I think exactly what you said. I think my instinct when I think of heartbreak, I think about like a breakup initially. But I think as somebody who feels things so deeply and who cares about things so deeply, like I also didn't realize like how things I didn't expect could break my heart in some ways. And I think something that I've learned that's I'm still not perfect at, but the moments when I'm in that like heartbreak, but I allow myself to like share that with other people or let people into it, there's a level of healing that naturally happens, whether it doesn't have to completely heal, but just to, I think my instinct for a long time was, okay, my heart's broken. I need to shut people out and heal it and fix it on my own.
Yeah.
But I've come to find that like at least for me, I can't experience healing without love in some capacity, whether that's from myself, whether it's, I feel it from my creator, whether I feel that from other people. And so the instinct to isolate, I think there's obviously times that that's necessary for you to just like have a second to process and grieve things, but just staying open and just like, yeah, there's potential risk, especially for me when I care about things so much, for it to continue to feel broken. But also I think that the breaking in a sense is just like expanding my capacity to love, and it's expanding my capacity to feel, which sometimes feels like a double-edged sword. But that's the pursuit that I'm on right now, is to just like keep myself open, and to not close off, and to not even just like allow other people into it, but like almost invite obviously people that feel safe or people that I feel comfortable with into that, and to not hide it. Like I think for so long I had this perception or this idea of what I thought other people were expecting from me was like this joyful, happy, sunshiny Ashley.
Yeah.
But I think what's so beautiful is like when you get to experience different parts, like the spectrum of parts of people, and not just like the one side of somebody that you're kind of expecting. When they allow you into a part that is messy or hard, it just connects you and bonds you in a deeper way. But also for me, I think that's what I've learned is like they're just like, I can't experience healing without being open to receiving love.
Yeah.
And be open to even still giving love when I feel, even if it's like broken or it feels like it's not me at my best. But just I think just always being in pursuit of staying open to allowing myself to receive it. And even when I want to shut people out, because I'm like, this is messy and scary, I don't want you to see too up close because it's broken.
Yeah.
But just like admitting that also is like, I think we just miss out on the opportunity to be loved because we predetermine that somebody's not going to love that part of you, or somebody's not going to accept that part of you. But then in my experience, when I've exposed like what feels like the most broken, messy parts of me, and somebody's met that with love and safety, like it's healed something in me and almost like given me permission to love that part too.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that I'm in pursuit of that in so many areas of my life right now.
Let me ask you a really hard, violent question.
We love that you just woke up and chose violence today. Bring it on.
What are the parts of you that are hard to love? Or let me rephrase that, the parts of you that you think are hard to love.
This is something that is more clearly, I'm just recognizing it more clearly. I think I had this, because I've had series of heartbreaks in relationships, and just I also like when people close to me are experiencing heartbreak, like I feel that so deeply. And I think there's a part of those that I will always carry. I think it heals, but there's just like a tenderness that's created. But I think I didn't fully realize this, but I think there is this is a double-edged sword for me, because I have high expectations for myself. And I think that shows up in a lot of different ways. I also, because I care so deeply about people and I care so much about what other people think, I have a lot of people-pleasing tendencies. And so also with those high expectations and with wanting to make sure everybody's happy and taken care of and I'm not hurting people, or like I can just get really hypersensitive about that sometimes, but that causes me to be really, really hard on myself. And my like self-talk sometimes is like wild, like pretty, like I have just been going through a process of trying to get to a root of like a lot of shame that I've carried for a long time. And I think parts of that is from mistakes I've made in relationships and just mistakes I made as a person, of just like recognizing like that's actually not the type of person that I want to be. I don't want to be the type of person that does things like that. But something that I'm realizing is my understanding of what it took to heal was that I had to earn healing. And so in order to earn that, there had to be a level of self-punishment, and that I had to punish myself enough to deserve healing, which is so, like, saying it out loud sounds so harsh and warped, because if someone were to say that to me, I'm like, you don't need to deserve that.
Of course.
But there's something in my brain that I think it's a combination, I'm sure, of so many different kind of some of the sediment that I was talking about that I've put on myself, but just like the
there's a new friend.
Thank you. Just the that I think it's both with healing and with love. I think, and specifically like romantic love, like in a partner, there's a part of me that feels like I have to earn that. And I think it causes me, and I've done this for, I think since like, I had like a really big significant breakup in 2020, and there were a lot of layers to that, because part of that was wrapped up in like our differences in faith and beliefs, and that is like that's just such an important thing to me that's wrapped up in my identity. And there are just so many things that like that just I think caused me to put up this wall. And I feel like I put up like a series of walls that I've been able to break some down, but there just feels like there's this one wall that I still have. And it's specifically in romantic relationships that it's like there's this like level of emotional availability that I just want to break through so bad, but I'm so afraid of. And I'm not even 100% sure what the wall is, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. But I think what's behind the wall is like this, like, I don't want people to see like the way that I talk to myself, or I don't want people to see like the deep some of that deep shame that I carry. Like I let people see enough so they know, but like not the like,
right. Not
it's
the,
like the parts that I've curated that they can see that I'm comfortable with, but then it's like actually allowing them to like come into that with me
right.
is so hard for me.
Yeah.
And I think it's, again, like what I was saying, I feel like I'm rejecting a level of love that I want so deeply but it's my own doing because I'm assuming that people won't love those mistakes that I'm still holding on to, or the shame that I'm holding on to, or the times that I just feel like I need to beat myself up in order to heal, or beat myself up in order to change so I can be more lovable or earn somebody's love. Like it's just, it's such an interesting thing to become more aware of. And like, I'm in the process of like trying to just sit with it and face it so I can let go of it.
Yeah. Well, it's such a vicious cycle because it's like you're carrying shame that you're carrying shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just,
yes,
it's ridiculous.
I know. Like what a crazy cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is so scary, like to think, okay, I think part of your problem is probably you're such an authentic person that you don't want to be in a relationship where you can't fully be yourself and fully share all these things, but these things seem dark and scary. And because you've had your heart broken in the past, you're like, I don't know if I can handle another major blow to this organ over here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I think too, this is something I'm so grateful for with therapy and just with like caring about being self-aware, because I think coming out of those relationships that you feel so broken by, but then there's another layer of grief when you realize like the ways you contributed to that. Because I think there's naturally just the hurt that you feel of like a relationship ending, but then I think something that I struggle with is like sometimes when I make those mistakes, like just getting so fixated on those things of like, okay, I need to make sure that I operate differently so that I can have a healthy, happy, successful relationship. But the downside of that is if I get so fixated on that, then it's like shutting out opportunities to have a happy, healthy, just all-encompassing relationship because I'm so fixated on the mistakes and not making them that I'm like, my focus is just a bit skewed and off, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the interesting thing, and I don't always feel this way, but I think our hearts are so much more capable than we think they are. You know, I think they're so unbelievably resilient.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we have such recency bias. And so we think, man, because things are still really tender in here, I couldn't handle another heartbreak. I would pass away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. I had like what felt like the worst breakup of my life, like 3.5 years ago. And it felt silly because it was very mutual breakup. Right. But I just was just torn up about it and was kind of feeling like, I know I can, like, intellectually it makes sense, but I don't think my heart could handle another blow, you know?
Yeah.
And then a month later, I meet this girl, fall head over heels, and get absolutely destroyed.
A month later?
Yeah. Like worst heartbreak of my life by far. And, you know, we didn't even date very long, but it just absolutely tore my insides asunder. And what I learned from that, among a host of other things, was, dude, my heart can do anything.
Yeah.
My heart is so resilient. And there'll be periods where it's in hell and it's in full recovery mode.
Yeah.
And there's not much left to give, but it always regenerates.
Yeah.
It always does.
Yeah.
And you hear people all the time that are heartbroken, whether it's a divorce or a bad breakup, and you hear people say like, yeah, I think I'm done with love. And I always think, good luck.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Eventually you're going to have that yearning again.
Yes.
You're going to have that desire. And so if you tell yourself that your heart can't get over something, it won't.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I've tried to be a good coach to my heart,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
and be like, dude, we can We can get over this.
Yes.
You know, and also I try to remind myself, because one of my big things in life is giving myself maximum grace, which not always easy, right? I can often have a pretty unfriendly conversation with myself as well. But I try to remind myself, like, it's okay, dude, if you are really, really, really sad.
Yeah.
It's okay if you're really heartbroken. You can also simultaneously feel joy and hope. And you can even fall for somebody while you're heartbroken.
Yes.
You don't, I think sometimes we're so obsessed with healing, right?
And you make it your whole identity?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But if it's your whole identity, what happens when you're healed?
Yeah. Right.
You got to get a
Then
new
what?
identity.
Exactly. Yes. That's such a good point. I think too, and I'm so glad that you shared what you did, because I think after I had that like heartbreak that I didn't think I would recover from, and then I opened up my heart again and then experienced another heartbreak, I think to what you're saying, it almost like feels more painful in some ways, because it's like after you experience a heartbreak and then you open it up again to get it broken again, it's like it just, there's like a different sting to it, but also exactly what you said. I'm like, it just is expanding my capacity, and it just proved to myself that I'm like, that was a heartbreak I didn't think I'd get through, and then I did. And then I experienced another heartbreak that I was like, I'm not going to be able to get through this. And then I did, and I feel like it's just the process of almost like, in some ways, and obviously don't always feel this in the moment when I'm experiencing it, but like there's a part of me that I'm like, wow, what a gift that like I love somebody so much to hurt so deeply, and that I like allowed myself to love someone that much for it to hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And it just, I think, is proving to me of like, right now my heart feels like obliterated, and it feels like a curse to care so deeply. But it also is like the biggest blessing, because I'm like, I don't want to live a life that's just like, I don't care about anyone, or I don't feel like anyone cares about me. Like, I think that's just the risk that you have to take if like, especially as someone, and I think you feel and care so deeply too, that it's like, what a gift that we have to be able to love people enough to like experience that kind of pain in losing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it just is like the level of, and sometimes it's like, like I feel like I've grieved so much, but then when I experience joy, it's just also expanded that capacity for joy as well. And it's just this kind of like, in my experience, like you can't pick up one end of the stick without the other. And I feel like grief and joy are on the same stick.
Yeah.
It's just, you're experiencing the grief, but then when you experience the joy, like the capacity will just feel bigger.
Yeah.
And that's a really hopeful thing. And I don't always see it that way when I'm in the depths of grief.
Right.
Or if I'm in like the highs of joy, I'm not like, wow, thanks for my grief. But it's just like, just when I take a step back and look at it, I'm like, that's the kind of life that I would rather live a life where I'm, you know, putting myself at risk to be heartbroken than never trying or never knowing at all, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I talked about this on one of my solo episodes recently, but I've seen a lot of comments on some of my posts. Maybe I'm talking about a breakup or heartbreak or whatever. And people will literally say like, God, please take away this. If it's not meant for me, take away this desire. Right. And I'm like, no, don't ever take away this desire from me, because this thing is so beautiful. And this is what makes life worth living.
Yeah.
This is what makes me feel like a human.
Yeah.
You know, like, even though it feels so backwards to say, when you're heartbroken, you feel so human. You feel so attached to humanity and society and friends and loved ones. Like, you're there, you're locked in life.
Yeah.
You're dialed, and your life might feel like a mess in a lot of ways, but I don't know. In a weird definitional way, I've felt the most alive when I've been going through heartbreaks.
Yeah.
You know, because you're just feeling things so much.
This conversation is so timely. And so I'm just so grateful for it in a lot of ways, because I think I go through cycles of this, but I feel like at my core, like what you said, I do feel like I have this deep craving and desire of just like experiencing the human experience in its fullness,
Mhm.
And I think there's there's just like so many things that almost like encourage us to hide our humanity.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot. And I think that there's parts of me that I'm like it's almost like I'm trying to create this like robotic version of myself when I'm like, I think this is what people want. I think this, and I'm like, they never said that to me, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I'm like, so I'm hiding the parts of me that like make me so human that when I release myself of the idea that I have to hide those parts, that's so freeing. And I
Mhm.
don't feel like this weight that I'm carrying. To the level of connection and depth in my relationships is so beautiful. And exactly what you're saying. I feel so connected to humanity and to like the world around me and like being present. And sometimes it's painful
Mhm.
because it's like you'll have things around you that remind you of something that you're heartbroken about. And it's just like, but also like there is this weird, it's almost like romantic to me in a way,
Mhm.
because it's like a reminder to me that like I'm alive and that I
Yeah.
have the capacity to love and care and just live deeply with a purpose and with intention and like be connected to things. And sometimes you lose those things and
Yeah.
sometimes it changes. But like that's the whole point.
Yeah. I mean, if you start to view it as your wounds that you've experienced throughout life, if you start to view them as sacred wounds,
Mm.
then I don't know, you find purpose in the suffering and you find meaning in all of it. Sometimes, to your point, I'll be driving around and I'll see a restaurant where I had a moment with a girl that absolutely shattered my world,
Yeah.
and in a weird way I'm grateful for it
Yeah.
because it reminds me, hey, there was a time, buddy, when you were fully alive and
Yeah.
you were in love.
Yeah.
And it's sad that you don't feel that right now or that you miss it or whatever, but I kind of want those reminders.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget that I was in love.
No.
That's horrible.
No. And that's like, I don't think I've ever had an experience where I've been so in love and it's ended, or I've had a relationship that's ended and I'm like, I wish that never happened.
Yeah.
I think sometimes there's a part of me like, I wish I wasn't feeling like this and like, what can I do to not feel like this? But like, if I'm being so honest with myself, I don't think there's ever a time that I would say, I wish I never met that person, or
Yeah.
I wish I never experienced that, or I would like, because just as like hard, like it wouldn't be hard if it wasn't beautiful or amazing, or if
Yeah.
I didn't have experiences that were so meaningful to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of a situation that like even in not even like any romantic relationships of like kind of the season I'm in right now in my career where there's like things that are so hard for me, but like yeah, there might be things I would change, but like what I'm learning and how I'm growing and how it's like expanding my capacity to relate to people and to love people, even that like feel hard to love when I'm like, I don't understand like why you're treating me like this or why these things are happening, but it's challenging me to be like, how can I like try to understand and like show up and love this person better?
Yeah.
Like it's just opportunities. I think everything is an opportunity. And for me, it always comes back to love, of like how to love ourselves better, how to love other people better, how to receive love better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think over the years I've come to the conclusion that there's basically three things in life that are true and that are indisputable, and that there's not really anything more powerful than. One, for me, obviously, is God, but you take God off the table. If you don't believe in God, that's fine. To me, now there's two truths left, and that is pain. There's nothing more true than pain when you're experiencing it, right? You can't argue with it. But to me, the only thing stronger, more true than pain is love. And if you kind of can understand that, you're like, okay, I can endure those truths, and those are the only things that really matter.
Dang. I've never looked at it like that or thought of that, but also those are like the two universal things that connect us more than anything else.
Exactly. What is more true than pain or love?
That I think that is so powerful, because when you get to know somebody and you are exposed to their pain, or you have an insight to their pain, there's also a level of love that comes for that person, that it's like, I feel like we wouldn't have as deep of a capacity to love if we didn't also have that pain. Like, it's
okay. Now let me stop you, because you're onto something really good here. If that's the case, if when we see other people's pain, it draws us in and makes us love them more, why can't we do that with ourselves?
The age-old question. That is literally the pursuit that I'm on right now. It's like, why? Because there are moments that sometimes I feel, I'm like, am I clinically insane? Like, because I have moments where I can give myself so much grace, and I'm like, this actually literally is my first rodeo. Like, this is my first time being human. Like, yes, I'm an adult. Yes, it's like, oh, we should have this figured out. I'm like, I'm still experiencing things for the first time. Like, this, quite literally, being on this planet.
I'm barely an adult.
This is my same. I'm like, what do you mean I'm an adult? I'm like, I still feel like a kid half the time. But there's times that, like, that truth is so apparent to me, and it's like exciting to me, that I'm like, Ashley, it's okay. You've never done this before. You never experienced before. You're learning. Like, that's like the beautiful part of life. You're learning. But then there's times that I'm like beating myself. I'm like, why did I do that? Or that it's just like, why can't I give myself the same love that I'm like so quick to give other people, that I just like, that I just like want to be giving to other people. I don't know what that barrier is.
Why isn't it endearing?
Right.
Because it is almost endearing when you see other people's pain that you love, that you care about. You're like, oh, they're human.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But with us, we're like, idiot.
It's like so accusatory.
Yeah.
And it's so like identity based for me, at least, that's so true. I think that's something that I'm going to be exploring like the rest of my life. Like, because I will say, I do think a lot of that for me is wrapped up in what I'm wrapping up my identity in, because I'm a lot quicker to be hard on myself when I'm like putting my identity so blatantly in external things. But I think there's like a part of me sometimes that feels like loving myself is narcissistic, or that there's like a level of love I'm allowed to give myself before it leans into narcissism.
Right. Like you need to be, you need to hold a high standard for yourself. So you need to show yourself some tough love.
Yeah. Yes. And like, I think it's the very fine line between like self-awareness and self-deprecation of like, okay, I need to be self-aware to learn and to grow, but also like, I don't need to beat myself up over these things. It's like, So where is that?
What is the fine line? Like, how do you delineate between, because for myself, I think, I wonder if you're the same, but the things that I am most intolerant of in my own behavior is stuff that I've done again and again and again. Right? Yeah. Because I'm like, dude, you're not an idiot. You know, when you do X, Y, and Z, it makes you feel bad, but you do X, Y, and Z, right? Or you know, when you act this way, it makes others feel bad, and that makes you feel bad. Why do you keep doing it?
Yeah.
And the easy answer is because you're a human being. But when you're stuck in your own head, you're like, no, I just can't figure it out. Whatever it is, I can't stop being lazy. I can't stop with this addiction or this struggle. But yeah, at what point is it healthier to say, okay, man, you messed up again. How can I support you?
Yeah.
How can I love you better? Is that an unreasonable?
No, it totally is. My friend Henry has said this before. He's like, you can't hate yourself into healing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so why do I think, kind of what I was saying, that if I torture myself enough, that then all of a sudden I'll be healed? It's like, if you were in a relationship with somebody that was abusing you, what do you mean? That's not.
Are you in a toxic relationship with yourself?
At times, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's just, and I think and people have said this is not anything groundbreaking, but it's like, would you talk to somebody else the way you talk to yourself? I'm like, never in a million years. So it's like, why do I get a pass to like say that to myself? Literally, I have the background of my phone right now is a picture of like me and my dad when I was really little. And is just a reminder to me, because I'm in this right now of just like wanting to heal that negative self-talk that again, it's not even something that I've had always, which is infuriating, but it's also hopeful to me because I'm like, oh, it hasn't always been this way. So I believe it doesn't always have to be. Yeah. Like this is something that I learned or that I adopted or that I accepted that I don't need to. And so like anytime I like look at stop. Are you kidding? Wait, that's little Taylor. No, I'm going to cry. Wait, where's my phone? Genuinely. Oh, it's in my bag over there. It's like 2 pictures. There's one of me and my dad. I'm on his shoulders. And then one of like, he like has his arms wrapped around me and I'm making like a goofy face because it also is a reminder to me. I'm like, I want to be little Ashley because little Ashley didn't talk to herself like that. Yeah. But also like, would I talk to little Ashley like that? Never. But I'm like, that's who I'm talking to. Yeah. When I'm saying those things to myself, I'm talking to her. And I think that's something that shifted for me when I just like picture myself as a little girl and I'm like beating her up for making mistakes. I would never do that. Yeah. Like I have so many nieces and nephews, and if they fell down, I would never be like, you're so dumb for falling down. I'm like, you're learning how to walk. Like I'm so proud of you. Yeah. Like it's just like, I would never say those things. Like, I think it's so beautiful to watch kids face their fears and try something. So it's like, what's the disconnect of me? Even if it's a mistake or something I've done repeatedly that I keep doing it and it's hard for me to change, I'm still facing a fear to like attempt to be better. Why am I tearing myself apart if I don't get it perfectly? Yeah. Like that, I think something that the difference of, because in my mind, I'm like, okay, if it happens once, it's a mistake. If it happens a second time, maybe it's like a little well-informed mistake. But then a third time, I'm like, that's a choice. Yeah. Like that's a choice I'm making. But even that can be dangerous for me sometimes because I'm like, sometimes that's fueled by shame for me. But something I have to be really careful with I am statements because anything that I'm like that follows I am, I'm like, I have to be so careful because it's like, am I that? I'm like, no, that might be how I feel. Right. But my feeling is not my identity.
Right. Is that actual truth?
Right.
Yeah.
But I've learned to, a lot of times in my head, when I'm saying like, you are so this, you are so that, I'm like, that's not me. That's a voice in my head that's talking to me that I don't have to accept. Like it's really interesting as I've paid attention to the voices in my head, you know? But genuinely, like a lot of the self-talk is really accusatory and is you are. And to me, I feel like that's a voice that's not my own in my head trying to convince me of something that I'm not. And so I literally have started to like, and it sounds kind of crazy, but it's so helpful for me of like, instead of just listening to myself, like talking to like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's a thought. I don't have to accept that thought. It's just a thought. And I can change the narrative by like just saying something different. Like that's not true because this is what my therapist has me do. Okay, if you have a thought that doesn't feel like a thought you want to focus on, okay, this is not true because, and like give proof or evidence as to why, because my brain will also try to find evidences as to why things are true about negative identity attachments that I have. But it's just, I think a lot of times I just allow my thoughts to take over instead of being like, wait, you're not in control here. Like, I don't have to think that way. I don't have to talk to myself that way. Like I can actually control that. Yeah. And so just trying to be a little bit more proactive about like cutting off that cycle of.
Well, they're called intrusive thoughts for a reason.
Yes.
They intrude.
Yes.
So you're not welcome.
I'm just minding my own business and all of a sudden it's like, hey, you actually are the worst person. And I'm like, whoa, I'm literally just like walking down the street. Where did this come from? Yeah. But just, yeah. And again, it's a thought. I think that's something too. I'm like, a thought does not have to become a belief. That's something that I allow. And I
Yeah.
do have a say in. And so just trying to really, and that's, I think the work I'm doing now is I'm like, oh, there actually are some beliefs that I think started as thoughts that I just accepted for too long.
Mhm.
That I'm like, I don't actually have to believe that. That's okay.
Yeah.
Just because I believe it now doesn't mean it has to be something that I continue to believe.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so much of what we think about ourselves that is purely, completely, fully fiction.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And it's crazy, but when you tell yourself something long enough, you start to believe it.
And you start to create a reality around that. And then your reality kind of starts to reflect that because you're
Mhm.
looking for evidences
Yeah, it
of
becomes
that.
a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And then I think for me, that's when I start to assume other people are thinking the same things
Mhm.
about me, which then it's cutting off like the level of connection that I want to have with other
Yeah.
people.
Yes.
But that literally saw this morning, and I think you've had Sean Moore on this podcast,
Mhm.
right? Yeah. So he was saying this on a podcast, and I think he heard it on another podcast, but he said, I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I'm who I think you think I am.
Right.
Which is like, that took me a second. I was like, okay, wait,
Yeah.
carry the one, like what? But I was like, oh my gosh, like that. There's so much I think of my identity that's wrapped up in what I think other people think about me
Mhm.
that is still self-generated or
Yeah.
is still an assumption that I'm making,
Yeah.
that I've had to really pay attention to that and be like, do I actually think that?
Yeah.
Do other people, has anyone actually ever said that to me? Or
Right.
is this, and even if they have, does that even make it
Yeah.
true?
Do they have any reason to know what they're talking about?
Right. And it's always like those things that will stick with me. It's like you can have people say 100 nice things to you and one person says something negative, and it's like, why is that the thing
Mhm.
that like sticks with you? But I think it's like the people, it feels different when it's like somebody that's close to you. But I think there's just like a layer, especially, and I'm sure you experience this too, like putting yourself out there, especially on social media and like being vulnerable. There's people that are making comments that don't even know you.
Sure.
And it's like, I think for like a while that affected me, but I kind of got to a point that I was like, I think Tom Holland said this. He's like, if you have a problem with me, call me and let's talk about it. If you don't have my number, you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me.
Right.
And I was like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm
Mhm.
like, why am I letting something affect me that somebody said that I'm like, they don't even know me or my story at all.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's, I'll get people that are just so either they're bothered that I'm talking about like being single or they're personally triggered by it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, there'll be people who'll be like, bro, you need to just like suck it up and stop crying about being single or whatever, right? And I'm like, I'll sometimes respond to comments because I don't get overly affected by it because I know they're usually just
Yeah.
cretins of the underworld. But I'll be like, listen, you'll never find me apologizing for talking about my personal experience.
No, never.
So if it doesn't
Good for
vibe
you.
with you, I'll see you later.
This girl was saying this, I don't even remember where I was, but she's like, if somebody came up to you and said, you're a dolphin, would you believe them? I'm like, no. She's like, would you be offended? I'm like, no.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just saying how she's gotten to a point where she's like so secure in her identity that like when people say things that aren't true, it almost feels the same as if they're going up to her saying like, you're a dolphin or it's like, and I think that's kind of the pursuit that I've been on too, is it's just like people can say things, but just because they say it, that doesn't mean it's true. But also something I've recognized, if people say something and it hurts, I think that also is just an indicator. I'm like, there's a part of me that might need healing in that area. Yeah. And just to get curious of like, why did that hurt?
Right.
Or why did that maybe feel threatening that somebody thought that? Like, was it just because I don't want people to think bad things about me? Or is there a part of me that actually feels that way? So it like pushed a button in me that like, you know what I mean? Because I think kind of what you said is like, essentially, if you're crying or having emotion, like that's essentially just an indicator. Like it's not a weakness. It's not, it's just a sign that you have capacity to feel and love. And
right. And I'm not, because I agree so fully with that. If somebody is calling me weak, I'm like, okay.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
That's your perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. You're just not right.
Yeah. Right. You're just actually blatantly wrong, but like,
Yeah. Appreciate
have a great
you.
day.
Yeah. Yeah. What,
Mm.
do you have a all-time favorite lyric that you've written?
Ooh. In the context of this conversation, this is actually a lyric that's come up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But well, there's a couple. So there's a song that I wrote with my friends for the band I'm in called The King Will Come. And there's a line in it that says, I know you never wanted to be broken, but I need you to be broken to be open.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when I was writing that, it was like I was realizing the importance of the brokenness that I was feeling was actually just an opportunity of openness.
Yeah.
And I was just framing it in a lens that like I didn't want to be framing it through. And it's like that actually, yeah, it feels broken and it might be, but also that also means it's open.
Right.
And it just kind of helped me like look at that in a new way.
Yeah.
That
and it's openness between you and God, but it's also openness just between you and other people.
Yeah.
You know, when you're sharing your openness and you're sharing your brokenness,
yeah,
it gives people an invitation to be like, I'm kind of broken too.
Yes.
You know?
Totally.
And what a gift.
I know. And that I think, and then another that's just coming to mind, there's actually a couple songs that I've written recently, but that song yet, the last verse, it was like writing it. I think part of the reason why I love the last verse so much is it was like, that's when I felt like so much healing come in, because the last verse is, God, I know I'm not the same, but you knew that I would change. And I think that you're trying to tell me it's okay. Because I think there's like a part of me sometimes that feels like not just uncomfortable with change externally, but change internally.
Yeah.
And that sometimes it just feels really scary when you're starting to become something that either you didn't think you would, or you go through things you didn't think you'd go through that naturally as a byproduct just like change you.
Yeah.
That I think for me, I had this expectation of maybe what my life would look like or who I thought I would be in a lot of ways. And so for me to not be that, or for me to go through experiences that altered that vision in my mind, felt scary and wrong in some ways, but also like changed my perspective from being black and white to like a world of technicolor in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I think it just showed me that, yeah, change can be hard and heavy, but also so beautiful.
Yeah.
And necessary. Not me choking. But
still mid choke.
Like stuck, yeah.
For everyone watching the show right now, I want you to
you might need the Heimlich.
I want you to know that the AC has broken and we are really going through it.
Gosh.
We're experiencing it.
The AC's broken. I'm choking.
Yeah,
but really, what just happened?
If you're not watching, I don't want anyone to think it's not a really sweaty episode.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's tears, it's sweat.
It's a lot of salt.
Yeah.
Can I ask, I know you've talked about this song ad nauseum, but in the song Yet, I was listening to it and I was thinking about this lyric and I want to hear your thoughts on it. When you talk about, because so much of the chorus is you saying like, God, don't give up on me yet, right? But I wanted to ask you, do we sometimes conflate the idea of, I think God's giving up on me and I'm giving up on God?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what was interesting when I was writing that, I think one, I was projecting my thoughts and feelings about myself onto God.
It's great. That's so funny to articulate that you are, that you're deflecting, you're projecting things onto God. That's crazy.
And I was like, I'm feeling this way about myself. God's feeling this way about me. Because obviously I know what God is feeling. And I was like, oh yeah, he's feeling this way about me. But I think what was so hard was like me feeling that way about myself was so hard, but me feeling that God was feeling that way about me was like, ugh. But when I was writing the song, I think it was like one of the most spiritual experiences I've ever had. And I wrote the song in 2020, and it still makes me emotional because of how sacred that experience was for me. But that night, my identity was in that relationship that I was in, and it was in my career. And it was in 2020 when so much of the world changed and my life changed. And I had been living in Nashville before, and I thought I was going to marry that person. And part of why we broke up was because our differences in beliefs. And then all the plans that I had for music, I had just been on American Idol. It had finished. I thought I was going to my momentum was just like this. And then with COVID and everything. But then I'd never questioned God before. And I just remember that night, like, I'd been questioning him for a long time, but I hadn't prayed because I was like, I don't even know if he's there. Mm-hmm. But I also was at a point where I was like, I don't even know who I am. And I don't even know like what's left of me. And even like what I feel like is left, like felt like so broken and empty. And I just remember I had built so much of a foundation of my life on God that, like, even though I didn't know if he was there, it was like my instinct. I was like, I don't know what else to do. And so I just like dropped to my knees and I was like, God, don't give up on me. Cause I was like, I've given up on me. And I was like, I think I've given up on you too. Like, I feel like all these things that are things I've wanted so deeply and that I felt like in a lot of ways, like God wanted for me too, like felt like they were just all at the same time ripped out from underneath me. Yeah. And I remember it was like, I was like trying to pray, but I was like, I'm not even at the point where I feel like I can do that. And I remember sitting down at my piano and I just started singing like the first line, like, God, don't give up on me yet. And by the time, like, because I sat down and I like wrote a majority of that song in like 30 minutes. And by the time I got to the end and it was like the last time I sang Don't Give Up on Me Yet, like it felt like God was giving me those words of like, hey, I'm talking to you now. Don't give up on me here. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not done with you. Right. Like, this is like, you're just now at a point where you're like opening yourself up to me in a real way that like is going to allow me to like, you're not shutting me out anymore. You're just like, I have nothing left. So like, I have nothing to lose. So here you go kind of thing. And it just was like, it was like one of the most healing experiences. And talk about like an experience of like receiving love when you felt, I remember feeling like so unworthy of it. And so like at a point where I'm like, there is nothing redeemable. There's nothing lovable about me at this point in my life. And for me to like have an experience like that where I like felt a love that like I'd never felt before, it like transformed me. And I genuinely feel like it like changed like my DNA in some ways, like to feel like loved like that when you are just at your lowest, like to feel so fully consumed and like every part of you is loved. Like, I don't know how you have an experience like that and have it not completely change you. Yeah. And I think that is like one of the most beautiful things. And then in the same breath, like, I think a lot of the shame that I carry is because I've had experiences like that and I still have moments where I get frustrated or I doubt and it feels like I'm cheapening that experience or I'm not grateful for that experience because I'm like, how can I have an experience that like saved my life in a lot of ways? Yeah. And then still like struggle to love myself or struggle to love other people or receive love or struggle sometimes and like wondering like, okay, I mean, I'm at a point where like I feel really confident in my relationship with God, but there's still things that I'm like, what the freak? Like, what? I don't know. And that I'm still learning, but But I always go back to that, like, that experience of love, like, just what you were saying. I think the two things in life that are true, if you take God out of the equation, are love and pain. That night, I think, was the deepest level of pain I felt, and simultaneously the deepest level of love I've ever felt.
Yeah.
And to be, like, at the lowest and then feel that love, like, it really just confirms exactly what you're saying. And I feel like it was also so, this is like the magic and the beauty of life and humanity to me, is like, I created something at that time that was so sacred to me, that was such an expression of like what I was experiencing on, like, in the depths of pain, but also while fully being encompassed in like a perfect love, that like I was able to create something that felt so sacred to me, but that also was so much bigger than me.
Yeah.
And that I had no idea, like, that, just the impact that that song would have. And a part of me for a long time felt it was hard for me, because I felt like I had to go revisit that level of pain.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I was forgetting the love that was there
Right.
when I was doing that.
Yeah.
And so I've just had like such a journey with that song and with that experience, because yes, there's times that like it reminds me of the pain, but like I can't talk about the pain without talking about the love that immediately followed. And that, like, that experience, it changed me as a human being. It changed me as a daughter. It changed me as a sister. It changed me as a friend. It changed me as a future wife. It changed me as a songwriter. Like, it just like changed the way that I see and experience so many things, because I'd never experienced what I had experienced that night, of like not wanting to live, to like all of a sudden feeling like so loved. Like it just was wild and so sacred and beautiful and healing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how, like you said, you can hold that one sacred moment, but then on the other hand, be like, how did I experience that? But now I'm like doubting. Now I'm being a buffoon.
Yeah. Yes.
But to me, when you were telling me that story, I was thinking, man, mothers have this experience when they give birth that I can only imagine is so sacred, and you're so bonded with your child, and it's this like divine experience. But guess what? Then you have a toddler that's running around the house and drawing markers on the couch.
Yes.
And you forget that sacred experience. And obviously it would behoove all of us if we could just be so present and mindful and grateful all the time, but we can't, because we're not perfect. And so to be able to give yourself the grace to say, okay, I had this wonderful life-altering moment. There will be times where I forget it, and where it's not as strong, and that's okay, because I'm not like a superwoman.
Yeah, totally.
Although you are.
And we're trying. No, I think that is so true. And I think that experience to me is also just it just like lights my soul on fire to want to love that way.
Yeah.
When you experience like a love that way, like I want to be able to pour that kind of love into myself, because I like know firsthand like how healing and transformative that is. And I want to just be better embodying that, and like just so generously like overflowing with that love for other people, because like I said, I don't think it's possible to experience like true healing without love in some capacity. And I think exactly what you're saying, like pain and love, like if you can meet somebody's pain, like meet them in their pain with love, like the healing that can happen. And just even, it doesn't have to mean that like you meet somebody in their pain and you love them through it, like that it's immediately healed. But there's just, I think the more often that happens, and I think the more often if we were so just like focused on just loving and like finding things to love in other people, as opposed to like finding reasons to cancel people, or I think there's just a lot that is dividing us, that I just am like, if we could just get a window into the things that like people have gone through. Yeah. And like that you just have no idea. It just softens your heart. And also just like having an experience like that, I'm like, I just want to embody that like radical love
Yeah.
so much better, so that like anyone I'm encountering, like, and obviously I think it's impossible to do that 24/7.
Of course.
You're
Yeah.
human, I'm
Yeah.
human. Like but just like that is, I think, a part of like something that I've adopted as my purpose because of having an experience like that and feeling the impact of it. It's like, I want so deeply for other people to experience that and to like do whatever I can do to help, or just like love in a way that even allows them to have some sort of experience like that. And I just think love is so powerful.
Yeah. I mean, how cool to, like, after so many years of your life, to have an experience where you're like, oh, now I understand, like I never understood before what love actually is. Like the definition of love has been completely altered.
Yes.
Like I had a vague notion of it.
Yes.
Right. And now I can kind of see what it's actually all about.
Do you have an experience like that, or do you have like either an experience like that, or how has your definition of love changed as you've experienced love in different ways?
Yeah, I think our definitions of love evolve like crazy, right?
100%.
And I think, growing up, the definition is kind of like whatever best examples around you, whether it's your parents or friends or whatever. But love also looks different everywhere. It has different colors. It has different shading. And so you have to experience it for yourself. You can't just rely on other people's love. I think I'm thinking of two experiences. I had kind of a similar experience that didn't involve a piano, but it was a lot different, but it was a lot similar. So I remember I was going through this heartbreak I told you about, and I was just having. It's so weird how heartbreak affects our faith. Like, that's so crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But just pain affects our faith, right? It makes us question things. It makes us wrestle with God, which I think is good. Yeah. But I was wrestling. And I never, one of my gifts, I believe, is faith. I've never really struggled with believing if God is there, if he actually exists. To me, it's just a capital T truth. And, but I was having trouble feeling hope in whatever plan he had for me, and wasn't sure what his plan was. Had some good ideas, but I was just feeling such a lack of peace with my life and with what I was feeling. And part of it was, after that breakup, I felt like I've tasted of this magnificent, robust love that I didn't understand fully before, and I didn't know existed in this capacity. And now I've tasted of it, and now it's gone. Can I find it again? Yeah. And part of my fear was, and part of the reason I ached so much was I felt like I'll never find a girl like this again. Like I just stumbled onto a lottery ticket, and now you're telling me I can't cash it out. And so I just hope to find another one, just hope to stumble on another lottery ticket. That's what it felt like. And so I was just praying to God. And it's funny, sometimes you have prayers that are very like out loud, very much a dialogue. And sometimes you have prayers where you're just kind of crying, and you're just like,
can relate.
Confirm. You're just like, God, you know what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe we throw in a bellow every once in a while.
Tears and wallowing. That's a prayer to me.
I had a nice wallow, but basically my prayer was like, whether I find a girl that's better or the love is just as good or whatever, I want that so badly, but I'm having trouble believing in it.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't get it. Maybe she was the best I'll ever have. Help me be at peace with that, right? Which is a violent prayer.
Yeesh, yeah.
And it's so funny. It's hard to explain how God communicates with us because it's so different for everyone. And for me, however it is with me, it's not even very clear. I don't know what's happening, right? But I know what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And I felt so deeply inside of me, God telling me that whatever he had in store for me was actually way better than anything I could ever imagine. And it just absolutely floored me because I'd never really considered that. I'd never considered that he had something prepared for me that was bigger than my wildest dreams.
Yeah.
And I felt it so surely that I haven't been able to deny it in any way.
Yeah.
And of course there are nights where I forget it, and there's nights where I'm lonely, and
Of course.
but then I go back to that moment of that pure love, and I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes some frequent reminders.
I think that there have been times in my life where I've wanted a specific kind of love, whether it's like romantic love, that I've in some ways like rejected or not even been paying attention to so much of the other love that I was surrounded by, because I was so fixated on like I want to be married and I want to have kids, or I want like these things, that it's like so much evidence of so much pure love around me in my family and nieces and nephews, in my friends, in creation, in my relationship with God. And like that it just, I think sometimes I've missed out on in some ways because I've been like focused on wanting a specific kind, that I'm like, I think it's okay to want that, but also like, I don't want to miss out on the love that's surrounding me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, that prayer of just being at peace with maybe not receiving something that you want is a hard one. But I think what you're saying of like, it's such a gift to have experiences when you felt love so purely that like anchor you, that like get you through those nights when you forget, or if you're lonely, or if you're struggling. And it's like, I just feel so grateful to have had experiences like that. And especially like what I shared with Yet, like that was so transformational that it's like, that's like carried me. It's been years and it still carries me through because of how powerful that was. And I've had so many other experiences since then. That was just like a really unique, like really powerful experiences. But there's so many that I've had along the way that I'm just like, man, I can't deny that like I have so much love surrounding me. And it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask you an insane question.
Oh my gosh,
No, it won't be worse than any that I've
Okay,
asked
great.
before. I have this thought every once in a while, and I wonder if you can resonate with it, but sometimes I'll be inside of a moment, whether it's whatever, a great conversation with somebody, or, you know, I'm cuddling with somebody that I'm really into, or something. And I wonder, and this is maybe a crazy thought, but I wonder, man, I wonder if my whole life leading up to this moment, if all the crap I've gone through would be worth it just for this singular moment. My 30 plus whatever years. Let me take a small example. What if my whole life, all the ups and downs, all the turmoil, all the heartache, what if my conversation tonight with you, that was the highlight. That was kind of what I came on earth for. Would it be worth it? And I don't know what the answer is, but I think it's a question worth asking yourself sometimes.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that question forces you to be present. And also just like, I think there's a lot of things in my life that bring me joy. There's a lot of things that I want, that like I hope happen in my life, but everything comes back for me to connection and relationships.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, that is, because ultimately, like, I think a lot of times I think my answer to that depending on the state I'm in, might be, well, no, I didn't do enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it's like, if I actually think about what's important to me, I'm like, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, this is like what's important, like connecting with people and like being able to share and being able to learn.
Yeah.
But dang, I feel like now that question's going to go through my mind in moments that I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
would it be? And it's just, I feel like that is a powerful question because it shifts the way that you approach moments in your life and people and experiences and conversations and situations and like, just like makes me not want to take things that might feel momentary or little.
Yeah, it helps me kind of stay in the moment sometimes because I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 times a year, I feel like you have a night where you're with friends or you're with your parents or you're having a moment that you're like, it doesn't get better than this.
Yeah.
Like we're just connecting so deeply and it's so meaningful. And this is everything. This is heaven. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm here for. Mm-hmm. But to ask yourself that question is, I don't know.
Do you feel like there's a common theme for when you're feeling that for you? Of like, if you could look at moments when you're like, this is that I love this. Is there something that is consistent in those moments?
I think it's, I think with certain people in your life, you get into a conversational flow state, right? And you're with someone that you feel incredibly safe with. And so you can toggle back and forth between silliness and really deep talk and vulnerability and jokes. Yeah. And it's just so comfortable and there's no lulls, there's no awkwardness. You're just hyper present.
Yeah.
And I just can't get enough of it.
It's like hyper presence combined with like connection in all forms of like you're saying, the depth, then like the light silliness, the playfulness, and then just curiosity. And yes.
Like, when you're with somebody that you're into romantically, to me, like the best parts are when you are just being so weird and silly and that they love it. Mm-hmm. And they're being so goofy.
Yes.
And you love it so much and everything is just so endearing. And you're just like, yes, take me away.
Take me away. There is nothing better than when someone brings out your goofy side and then they like match that. Or like, for me, it's the moments when like, if someone makes a joke and then you're kind of riffing off of it and then you just kind of like keep going. And I'm just like, we are being completely insane, but we're like matching the level of insanity with each other. And that flow state of what you're saying of conversation, but also of goofiness is like, I totally agree.
I was dating this girl, this was years ago, and we had plenty of other issues why we didn't work out. But one thing I loved, just an inside joke we had, but we would be hanging out. We'd be like 4 hours into hanging out and we'd be talking and sometimes we'd be in this deep conversation and she would go, "What was your name again?"
Wait, that's amazing.
But she did it just rarely enough.
It would catch you off guard?
Every time it brought the house down.
That, honestly, also well-timed humor,
yeah.
top tier. Wait, that's amazing. Also, though, if you use that on a person that like didn't think it was, they'd be like, "What?"
Right.
So like the fact that it landed, that's
it
amazing.
It was so good. I can't.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Have you experienced like, well, I guess maybe in that relationship, like you had the goofy, like, what are your like non-negotiables? Is like goofy or like humor one of those? He's like, well, actually, funny. No. Pulls out a CVS receipt out of his pocket.
My non-negotiables. I mean,
or do you even have any? Are there things that like, I guess, what maybe non-negotiables isn't the right thing. Like what?
Here's what I value more than anything, and of course, I want to be aligned on values and spiritual, and there needs to be a level of intellectual connection and whatever, right? But beyond that, I'm hyper fixated on personality,
Mm.
right? And so if your personality is an aces, then that's a deal breaker. That's my non-negotiable, right? If
Yeah.
I don't just love being around you all the time,
Yeah.
if I'm not stoked to like walk to the mailbox with you, you know?
Yeah.
And it's tough because there's so many people you run into in life that have so many amazing qualities, but you're just not crazy about them. And that can be really heartbreaking because you can even learn to love them.
Yes.
Right. But you maybe struggle to be in love with them. And so to me, that's a non-negotiable.
Like the difference between loving someone and being in love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I definitely believe you can learn to love anybody.
Totally.
You know, and everybody has lovable qualities, but I want somebody that I would rather die than not love. You know, like not loving them isn't an option.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, and I've been with girls like that. And the only way to not love them is if they don't love you anymore and you're forced to. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And that's why it's so heartbreaking is because you're like, there's not a reality where I wouldn't love you. Like I would love you in any reality that exists. And so the only reality that I won't is when you make it clear that that's not an option anymore. You know?
Yeah. Do you feel like you fall in love quickly?
No, I think I can get very excited quickly. I think I probably fell harder, faster when I was younger. I try to have this nice combo of being very cautious and very romantic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think there's been a few times where I've fallen really quickly, but I ain't saying anything yet.
Yeah. Right.
Like I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
Play my cards right.
Yeah.
But sometimes you also have trouble deciphering, is this me falling in love or am I just excited about how I feel, and am I excited about this validation she's giving me? And
what's an indicator for you that you're in love with somebody, or is there one? I'm sure maybe it's case by case.
Yeah. I think I know I'm in love when I love the version of myself with them.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
I love the way I talk to her. I love the way I show up for her. I love the way I think about her. I love the way I serve her. I love me, you know, because like me loving her, it's like, duh. Like that's obvious. Yeah. She's fun to be around. She's fun to kiss. She's fun to like tell my friends about. All that comes pretty easily when it's the right person. But when I start to recognize how I'm shifting and how I'm changing, I'm like, yeah, this is something.
That is so beautiful. And I think that's such a beautiful roundabout definition of love.
Right.
Is like when it just experiencing something that elevates you and that brings out the best in you, and that also holds space for like the parts of you that you don't feel like are your best, but like makes you want to improve, not from like a place of shame or from a place of earning, but just like by nature of like, it just like brings that out of you and you want to like be that for somebody else and for yourself. And like, because of the way you feel about them, it naturally just makes you love yourself. That is, dang, that's like such a beautiful, it's funny that I asked the question and I feel like the response was like an answer to a definition of love in my eyes. That is so beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, to me, true love, it affects you.
Yeah.
It just will. But, you know, I remember with the girls, and I can count on one very small hand that I probably loved. I felt when I was with them, I felt the funniest. I felt attractive. I felt like efficient and skilled. I just felt all the best things about me were reflected by them.
Yeah. And
they validated all the things that I already loved, and they helped me love the parts of me that I struggled to love. And so that's why I always tell people that are so distraught after a breakup, feeling like they'll never find that level of love again. I try to remind people, so much of that love you felt was because of you, right? It, like, yes, your partner helped elicit it. They helped bring it out. They were a vessel, but you felt so good in that relationship because of you, because of how you felt.
Wow.
And what you brought to the table. And so that's duplicatable. That's
so powerful, because it almost is, again, like showing you the capacity of like who you can be.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we forget that we are 50% of a relationship. And so we lose,
who knew?
we lose somebody and we think we've lost 100% of something, but it's like, well, I'm the other part. I was the other reason this love was so good.
Yeah.
Right? So can I give myself a little bit of credit?
Wow. No, that's so good. And especially when you're in the throes of it, of like, oh, I lost this, I'm never going to find it. It's like, well, yeah, you might not ever find that exact version, but like you're discrediting what you contributed and what you brought and what you were capable of feeling and who you were capable of being, that you could be with somebody else, and maybe even better, maybe, or different, or like whatever that looks like. But that's a really cool and helpful perspective, especially in the just that grieving process. But that
it was weird, because I started to understand that and believe that after my last breakup, and it was really emboldening, because even though my heart was really destroyed, I felt like my self-esteem was higher than ever, which feels counterintuitive. But I was like, no, I went 12 rounds with this amazing human.
Yeah.
Almost won.
Yeah.
Just got knocked out at the end.
Right.
Like, I'm freaking tough. Like, I went toe to toe with someone that I thought was maybe the love of my life, and she loved me back. Like, I got to take that as really encouraging.
Totally.
Yeah.
That also too is just like, I think there's a level of that too that just, I wrote a song about this forever ago, but it's called Better. And it's like, I made you better, better for someone new. You made me better, better for someone too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I mean, the hook of it is like, I wish it could have been us, but it's like, yeah, I still wish it could have been us. But at the same time, it's like, but there are elements of relationships that just like, as a byproduct, like you learn, and that's going to help you be better. And exactly what you're saying, you're like, yeah, your heart was broken, but like you had this self-confidence because you're like, whoa, I just was showing up as this version of myself that I loved.
Yeah.
And that, like, I think being able to walk away with that is like a huge win. And like, how cool for the next relationship for you to be like, okay, now I have these like, not even fully new parts, but like more expanded and comfortable and confident parts that you maybe just developed in other relationships. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to Tony Robbins, and he said that 90% of the success of a relationship is based off of your selection. And he said, but it's not in the selection you think. It's not in who you select. It's in how much of yourself you select to bring to the relationship.
What? How much of yourself you select to bring into the relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And listen, that's why, certain people, they make that really easy, right? You're like, yeah, I want to give you all of me.
Yeah.
Right. But if we just kind of view it as, okay, well, that's how I'm going to love, then our relationships will be great.
Yeah.
Because we'll bring all of ourselves to it. And anytime you look back at relationships that didn't work, you can probably see the parts of you that you weren't.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has me just, that is so true. And I think that's been something that I've struggled with, kind of like what I was saying at the beginning of like that like wall that I have that I'm like, I'm afraid. But ultimately it's like when I'm thinking about myself being married and having kids and like the kind of life I want to build, I'm like, I don't want there to be anything that's hidden.
Yeah.
I don't want there to be anything that's not accessible or that's I'm keeping,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is such a dang. What was the percentage? You said 90%?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you quantify
Well, yeah,
that,
but I
but
just the way that you worded that, because I was like, oh, yeah, the selection of the person. And you're like, no,
right.
no,
Yeah.
of yourself. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dang.
It's like not only what percentage of yourself, but which parts of yourself,
Yeah.
are you willing to actually bring to the relationship? Because I think a lot of times we bring a good 70%,
Yeah.
or maybe we bring 98%, but the 2% is really in the shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. That's good. Whoa. Do you feel like, are there relationships that you, looking back at the relationships you've had, do you feel like there's some that you're like, oh, I did bring 100% of myself, or oh, I probably only brought 50% of myself, or like, or do you feel like you show up as like 100%?
It's hard because I think everyone is afraid to show up 100% in the very beginning.
Of course.
That's when it's the most scary,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, once I'm engaged or married, you can have 200%.
Yeah.
But when things are still a little uncertain, it's so hard to, it's so hard to
Totally.
bring all of yourself, because
Totally.
then it just hurts more if it's rejected.
Yes.
Right. So I think I do a good job of going piece by piece. Like my theory, and maybe this sounds, people might not like this, but my theory in dating when it comes to like pacing is, if the girl is going 50 miles an hour, we'll say, I'm trying to go like 45, 47, just right behind. And not to play games, but because I want to basically match her energy. But sometimes if I think I'm going 50, I'm actually going 55. And so I'm just trying to, I'm trying to really cautiously go about as fast as she is.
Yeah.
Right. And then once she's going 100, like, let's go, but that's what's so hard, is the timing of it. Like, I'm not going to give you 100 if you're giving me 70.
Yeah.
You know, but in the beginning, it's so hard to know how much someone's giving, So I always say, even like on a first date, if people ask me stuff, I'll tell them.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to volunteer very much,
But if they ask,
they can get whatever they want.
Yeah. But also, that's like a sign too. I think that's always an indicator that, like, just of like conversation and questions that people ask and like those types of things. Cause do you feel like are you somebody that typically is like asking more? I guess it depends, but what has your experience with that been?
I mean, listen.
Are you the type that like you like first date and you're like, tell me your deepest, darkest fears?
I like to ask unique questions because I want to see how they think.
Yeah.
And I want to see how they, just how they approach the world. But I don't expect you to
bare your soul in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, you can if you want.
Right.
But I want it to be organic.
Of course.
Right. And so, I've gone on first dates where this happened recently. I was talking to a girl and we were just kind of talking about, oh, when was the last relationship you've been in or whatever? And she's like, oh, I dated this guy for like 2 years and it didn't work out and blah, blah. I was like, oh, when did you guys end things? And she's like, 2 weeks ago. And so I'm like, hold the phone.
Yeah.
Are you alive?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Are you well?
Yeah, because I'm not well.
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean? I'm like now all of a sudden having like PTSD for you.
Yeah. So then we kind of went into a pretty heavy soul bearing conversation, but I just felt really organic.
Yeah. Just because of like how that conversation progressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if she, she could have easily been like, oh, it was pretty recent.
Yeah. But she was honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gave me the green light to be like, okay, like we can go there a little bit. Yeah.
I feel like relationships are oftentimes like you just get to know yourself better and you just learn more about yourself in relationships, at least in my experience. Are there specific parts of you that you can think of that like you met or got to know deeper through a relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes so much sense. Darn it.
Oops.
No, let's see. I think... Yeah, I think probably the biggest one is you learn how you love people. Because I think we have in our heads how we would like to love people, how we want to be loved, but how we actually show up to love other people often looks a little different.
Yeah.
And I don't know, with the right people, it's just so easy.
Yeah.
And I think with, I won't say the wrong people, but with the people that just aren't quite right, it's sometimes a challenge. Right. And to me, even though sometimes it's hard to not ignore, but I think that's such an obvious indicator that it's not the right person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think when I'm dating people, it helps show me, like, man, everybody needs to be loved in such unique ways. Like people talk a lot about like the 5 love languages, but there's 1,000 love languages.
Yeah. I totally agree.
And it's a helpful way to understand how people like to be loved, but yeah, some people, it means so much to them if you remember things that they said. Or like, I dated this girl, I've never seen this in my life. But she we had just kind of started talking and started dating, and I would mention something and I'd see her grab her phone and I'd be like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I made a note about you in my phone, and so I just add things to the note, whether it's like Taylor likes this band or Taylor said this funny thing. She's like, I just have a note on you. And I was like, kill me now. Take me to the grave.
Wait, that's really sweet.
But I love when you discover new fun ways to love people. It's so exciting.
And yeah, when you discover the way that you're doing it with people and then the way that other people are doing it to you, like if you haven't experienced it, that you're like, wait, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that, ultimately what that was maybe a gesture, but it wasn't really for me. It was kind of for her. But what it was it was her telling me, like, I super care about everything you say.
Yeah.
And I want to remember things you say, and I want, like, so I was just like,
wait, that's so sweet. You're like, okay, yeah, sign me up. Where do you want to get married?
Yeah. She's like, we just barely started.
She's
talking.
like, whoa, I only have like 5 notes in here. I got to build out.
She's like, I have
page.
other notes. Don't think you're the only note. But,
do you feel like, I mean, obviously, like you said, there's so many different love languages, but do you feel like yours has changed or evolved or expanded? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think when I was younger, and I'm still like this, but I think I was very, very heavy on quality time and physical touch. Just a very huggy, cuddly, kissy, touchy guy. And every guy likes physical touch. Let's call a spade a spade. But I also really needed quality time. Like, if I'm dating somebody, I want to see you like every day. Yeah. Sorry. But as I got older, I realized words of affirmation was a big one. And that looks different for everybody. It's not just someone saying, yeah, you're right, Taylor. Yeah, you're so right. You're so awesome. You worked so hard. We're so proud of you. But yeah, it's just, it's connecting with you and letting you know that you're seen and that you're heard. Because that's all we want.
Yeah. What is the best compliment you've ever received? Or what comes to mind when I ask that? Because I'm sure that's probably hard, but.
Yeah. I've received some killers. I have an album saved on my phone of, I just call it important texts.
I do too.
Really?
That I just have saved because I'm like, I never want to forget these and like who it's from.
Yeah. But I have a couple from my mom and dad that I'm just like,
Oh,
you know, that like it can
yes.
only come from a mom or dad,
Yes.
you know. I think in person, I think it was my birthday one year, and so people were going around and giving me a little honey roast, you know.
Yeah.
And this girl it's funny, we were kind of on and off. We were like kind of talking, and I was like, what the heck, come to my birthday sort of thing. So, but she said, she goes, yeah, when Taylor walks in the room, the climate changes and everybody can feel it and it's better.
Mm.
And I was like,
come on, thermostat. Okay. I'm just going to start calling you Thermostat Church.
big thermos over here.
Yeah. Wow.
And, you know, sometimes compliments like that are hard to receive because you're like, what?
Yeah. Wow.
Like, really? Because I don't know if I believe that. But when it's somebody you really care about, you trust them and you believe them. So you're like, yeah, there's got to be truth to it.
Dang.
So yeah, that was really beautiful to hear.
Especially from somebody that like you're like getting to know, but it's not like someone that you've known like your whole life, but like that they notice that about you so quickly.
Yeah.
Dang. That's really amazing.
Yeah. Do you have any?
Yeah, I also like those texts from my parents. Like there's one that my dad sent me after I had like had a panic attack during it was like the first panic attack I ever had on American Idol. And it was like before I went back to do the live show. And he just like, after the live show, just sent me like the sweetest text of how proud he was of me. He's like, not for being on the show. He's like, but it's like really inspiring as your dad to like watch you like face your fears and just like put yourself out there. He's like, I am so proud of you. Like, it had nothing to do with like, it just, the way that he worded it, just like, I go back and read that a lot. But this guy that I had been like talking to, and just really amazing guy, but like we didn't even like really date, but like he said, he's like, I've met a lot of people, but I've never met anybody that embodies the fruits of the spirit more than you do. And I was like, that like meant a lot to me for so many reasons, because that is like really important to me. Yeah. But also, this is so random. It was a comment on social media. This girl I don't even know, I like posted a song that I had written, and I don't know why this is like ingrained in my brain, but she said, I hope and pray I can remain as pure and as gentle as you after all that's been done to me in the way that you have. Yeah. And I was like, because to me, I think sometimes when I'm writing things that are so vulnerable and I'm like posting it and I'm like, well, all right, just my heart's on display. Yeah. But to like have someone I don't even know like see that and then like respond in that way, I was like, that's how you're perceiving this. And it just like made me want to stay open and gentle and like share those parts even more, that like someone I didn't even know felt that way. Like it just was so powerful.
Yeah. I know it's hard, but I try to tell people that when people are giving you really intimate compliments, don't deflect.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, just take it in, trust them. Yes. Trust that it's coming from a source of love. And so whether you agree with them or not, just believe them.
Yeah.
Because it may not be true to you and your brain, but it's true for them.
Yes. Yes. Believe that they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to find one.
Yes, please.
One of these
I love
texts.
this. I love that you also have a note of text. That makes me so happy and brings me so much joy.
I have to.
I agree.
Oh, here's one. You know what's funny? I like screenshotted it. Don't even know who it's from.
So if you're watching.
No, I think I remember who it's from, but it just says, you are one of the biggest reasons why I believe God is real.
Oh, that's going to make me cry. You're one of the biggest reasons I believe God is real.
And it's crazy because I actually do remember who that was from, but I don't know why she felt that way. You know? I don't remember like some great testimony I shared with her.
Wow. It's because of the way you love. I don't know another reason why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
Listen to this conversation. This person said, you can't look for a friendship like this. It's impossible, in my opinion. And then I said, no, it comes down to you from the heavens when you aren't even expecting it.
Cool. What do you mean? This is a text conversation?
Yeah. What do you mean?
What do you mean? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Everything's fine. But like, now I'm just thinking of what you said earlier of like, if that was as good as it got, like that text, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that is like, to me, the things that like, it just gives my life so much meaning and purpose and joy. And it's like the people, the connection. Dang, that is so beautiful. You're one of the biggest reasons I believe God is real. And you can't look for a friendship like this. Oh my gosh. Whoa.
Okay.
Now I understand. Wait, read another, please. I'm like, can you read the whole page?
This is a kind of funny one. But somebody said, what do you do when you don't feel like trying? And I said, I mope and complain and cry, and then I try again.
Honestly, though, I love that you included the process before trying.
Right.
Because I think we're like, okay, we'll just try again. I'm like, well, you missed like the spiral, the crash out, the crying.
Yeah.
But I did try again. Yeah. But I did all those things first.
And that's fine.
Yes.
You know?
I love that. Ugh.
Gosh,
when was the last time you looked at this thread?
It's been a while.
Okay, I'm so glad. I'm like, share it all. No, just whatever you're comfortable
this one's really funny. This is like, this might sound like I'm trying to flex. But this girl said, I don't remember our previous conversation, but it says, God wouldn't have made you handsome and charming if you weren't meant to find someone. What would be the point of that?
Okay, yeah. Okay. Wait, yes.
Isn't that so funny?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Honestly, that out of context was even better.
Right.
I don't need context.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this is the last one. This one I've shared before. This is from Terrell Baker.
He's the best.
He's the best. So I was talking to him about something with my work and my business that I was wanting to do, but I was just kind of scared and hesitant or whatever. And so I said, I need to stop being a baby and having really low expectations. And he goes, probably God wants to give you the world and you're not letting him.
Wait, I'm so sorry. God wants to give you the world and you are not letting him?
Yeah. Me and my low expectations.
I feel like I need to go repent. That perspective is, whoa, what a good friend.
And I think he said it so casually.
Yes.
And I was like,
you're like, hold on. You can't just casually say something like that. But it's the fact that he said, yeah, probably first. And then God wants to give you the world and you're not letting it.
Yeah, you're probably being a baby and you probably have low expectations. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Because how often do we do that?
Just every day.
Just multiple times every single day. Holy. Yeah. Wow. Dang. I was nervous about coming on here, about this conversation because of the season of life that I'm in.
Yeah.
Maybe add this to your text. I'll text it to you so you can add it. There's just a lot of what you've shared personally and like questions that you've asked and just insights that you've shared that have just helped me reframe a lot of thinking and a lot of my experiences. That's really timely and really impactful for me right now. And I know you have conversations like this a lot, and I'm sure it's like equally like feels so natural, but then I'm sure there's a level that's like hard to expose yourself. But just thank you. Like, I think it's really inspiring for me to just see how open and honest and like curious and deep and intentional you are in your life and in how you carry yourself and in how you talk to other people and how you facilitate conversations. And I think there's an aspect to not just what you're doing, but like you that's like really healing. And I am sure that's come at a price and that's required you to experience a lot of healing in your own ways. But I think your ability to sit with those things and face those things and experience and allow for those experiences to like be broken and to grieve, but also to love. But then also like, I obviously don't know the ins and outs of this, but the work you've done to heal, like, it's like really cool to be around someone that feels like their healing feels contagious in a way.
Yeah.
And their perspective and their groundedness and just this like, I don't even know what the right word for it is. It's just like I guess love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a love that feels contagious and this like vibrancy and this, like you just, I know this probably feels weird to say, but you just feel alive in a really beautiful way that it just makes me want to be more intentional about being alive. And this conversation has been so timely. And I feel like God was like, Taylor, Ashley, okay. And like, yeah, you were on her podcast or on his podcast before, but round 2.
Yeah.
And I think this conversation to me too is also just reminding me of like how intentional and aware God is.
Yeah.
And like, even just like talking about love in its different forms and grief and all these things, like, is just like, it's just like bringing so much hope to me.
Yeah.
And it's just causing me to reflect on moments and experiences, some being hard, but like some being so beautiful that just is like making me I just feel so appreciative to like be alive, literally be sitting here, literally be talking to you. So this feels like so not even adequately expressing what I'm feeling, but just thank you.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Dang.
I hope that I hope if nothing else, the episode reminds you how amazing you are and how like we were talking about before in a relationship, like in a conversation, it takes 2 people to have a beautiful conversation and it takes 2 people to have what feels like a healing conversation. Right. And one last reframe maybe for you, and then we'll wrap up. I think, because you talk about like, I don't know what your healing journey looked like or what it took to heal or whatever. And I think, and I don't want to get too caught up in semantics and this means this and this means this, but I think sometimes I've been overly obsessed with healing. And if that's the case, the supposition is that I am broken. And I don't believe I'm broken. And so I don't know that I necessarily need healing. I think I'm already healed. Because I'm not broken.
Dang. Yeah, sheesh. Yeah. Whoa. Big amen to that.
All right. Well, Hess, you're the best.
Thank you. Heard it here first.
You sure did. Okay. Well, everybody wait for 6 months for her album to come out.
Don't hold your breath. But actually, new music will be coming out. I'm releasing some stuff independently outside of that. So, which ironically is about learning how to love better.
Great.
So,
amazing.
Yeah,
if you haven't heard her voice in a singing capacity, get on Spotify, get involved. There's something, this is why music is so powerful, is that different people's voices affect you differently,
Mm-hmm.
right? You could be singing the same song. Even, your most famous song has several versions.
Yeah.
And people resonate with different ones,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so maybe she won't be like your favorite new artist, but like it's been so fun just being a little spectator in your musical journey, because yeah, you sing with all of your soul and all of your heart, and that's why it's so impactful. I don't know enough about music to tell you why your voice is good. I don't have the language for it. I don't know anything about your range or anything like that, but I know how it makes you feel when you hear it. And so that's what's great.
Honestly, I would much rather have somebody feel something than being able to point something out that I do technically. So that is a big compliment to me. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll see you soon.
Can't wait.
Okay.